right, Harmony Science Academy, 8th grade math students. Moving on to Algebra 1. You've been asked to simplify these numbers, okay? That's what they are. They're really just numbers. Something to know is that these are radicals, okay? These square roots. So let's get a really good understanding of what we're working with here, and then we'll begin to simplify, okay? So you guys are moving on to Algebra 1, and you're going to see this symbol a lot, okay? All this is, you guys know it as a square root, okay? Now just so you guys know, right, that symbol is called a radical, okay? This symbol. Now it's important to know that because sometimes you have a 2, right? This is called an index, okay? But sometimes instead of the square root, you can take the cube root. The index is 3. Here's the radical. The 4th root or the 5th root. Okay? All right, so there's already some language. So the symbol is a radical, and this index is what tells you, hey, this is a square root, right? Or the second root. Here's the cube root or the 3rd root, the 4th root, the 5th root. Okay? So you guys got that in your notes. Okay, now let's go and talk about some stuff you guys know so this doesn't become harder than it has to be, okay? You guys know that the square root of 4, most of you guys, is 2. Okay? Now I'm going to show you this, or let's talk about this real quick. If I ask you to do the square root of 8, right? So that's where a lot of you guys will get stuck. Look how fast I can get the answer. Okay? Now that means I'm able to do something besides just memorizing some numbers. So that's what I want to show you guys today. So pay attention. On this one, okay, when you have the square root of 4, you want to think of the number 4, and you want to break it down to 2 numbers that multiply to give you that 4, right? 2 times 2. 2 times 2. Now, whenever, most of the time you're going to be dealing with a radical that doesn't have an index, it's invisible, that means it's 2, okay? But we use it so much, we allow it to stay invisible, okay? But you're going to understand why that's important. Because this trick, you can use it with 3s, 4s, 5s, right? You can solve a problem like this. What's the 5th root of 32? Okay, and the answer is 2. And I'm not going to show you guys this, but you can use what I'm teaching you here to solve a problem like that real easy. Okay, so notice what I did. 4 breaks down to the primes 2 times 2, and since the index is 2, that means every time that a number repeats, I circle it, and every time that they appear in a pair, they pop out of the radical. So here's the radical. This 2 and 2, they pop out just one time. Nothing is left over, so the answer is 2. Okay, nothing's left in here, so just the answer is 2. Now let's apply that same thing here. Okay, I'm going to get my 8, and it's 2 times 4, right? 2 numbers that multiply. Now this one was prime and this one was prime, so I stopped. Here I have a 2 which is prime. 4, I can continue to break it down. So I'm going to break it down to 2 times 2. Now that I have this prime and this prime, so I have 1, 2, 3. Okay? So 2 times 2 is 4 times 2. Now I get the 8. Okay? So because the index is 2, okay, I'm going to circle every time a number repeats. Pay attention. Twice. Okay? So here's 2, 2, so I circle it. Okay? So that means these guys are going to get to pop out one time. I put the radical. This 2 does not have a pair, so he stays inside, and that's the answer that I got. Okay? So let me go and do one more here. Let's come up with, you guys know that 100, the square root of 100 is 10. Okay. Now, if I take 100, okay, let's go ahead and take 100 here real quick. Let me see if I make some room here. So let me write small. 100, we know is 2 times 50. Okay. This one is already prime. I can break this one down to 2 times 25. I'm done with this one. And this one is 5 times 5. 5 is prime and 5 is prime. Okay. So 2 times 2 times 5 times 5 is 100. So I put 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. Okay. And I now, right, the index is a 2 that's invisible. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and circle this one and circle this one. So that means a 2 pops out times a 5 that pops out. I have the radical empty, so it disappears, and I have 2 times 5, which is 10. Okay. Now, just to show you that you can do a one that's even harder, let's try 200. Okay. Now, since I've already done this when I was your age, I know that the answer is going to be 10 square root of 2. But how do we do that? Okay, let's go and write 200. And 200 is 2 times 100. Okay, this one's prime. 100 is 2 times 50. This one is prime. 50 is 2 times 25. This one is prime. And I got 5 times 5 equals 25. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I'm going to put all of those prime factors, 2 times 2 times 5 times 5, okay, underneath the radical. Okay, it's a 2 that's invisible, which tells me to circle every 2. Okay, so this guy's going to pop out. He doesn't have a pair, but they do. So I'm going to get 2 times 5, him and him. Inside the radical, there is a 2, so he stays. So then the answer is going to be 10 square root of 2. Okay? So that's more than enough notes for you guys to understand this concept. Now we need to practice in class. Appreciate your time. We'll catch you then.